my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave, and let me explain, you are looking at one whipped pup. Oh my gosh, have I been through the ringer? I can't even explain it. No matter what I say, you'll either think I'm exaggerating or just crying, oh poor me. It was a nightmare. Sorry for canceling the play along last night, but I was so beat to death that I couldn't have done it. I literally couldn't have done it. If I'd have had somebody scheduled to come in, I'd have had to tell them to stay home. I worked on that dump truck till 5:30 last night. Got it finished. Thought, all right, I'm done. I was still ready to go ahead and have the play along at that point, even though I didn't have much time. But then it didn't work. It lifts. You would think that would be the problem. You would think, well, it won't lift, right? No, it lifts, no problem at all. It won't come down is the problem. And when I say it won't come down, it starts down, it goes, and it just comes like this, and it gets to about right there where it's about 2 foot left to go, and it goes, stops right there. So I look underneath there, and the mechanism jams up against the bed of the dump, the actual truck bed. The mechanism comes up like this in the back and hits the bed, and it won't let it go down any further. So I thought, well, I've obviously installed it upside down, backwards or something. I was you have no idea how hard that was to put that in there. I mean, every single bolt, every single nut, every single hole, every single pin, everything fought me to the nth degree. It was just hard to explain how hard it was. So after I got it done, I was thinking, all right, fine, it's finished at least. Then it wouldn't work. So then I tried to use my logic and think of why won't it work? Well, it looked to be installed correctly. I mean, like everything looks correct. And I can't figure it out. So the only thing I could think of, if you think of a scissors like this, like a scissors, well, that's what's happening. There's a hydraulic cylinder pushes in here somehow, and it basically picks this scissors up like this, and the bed is sitting on it like at an angle. So this picks the bed up. So the only thing I could think of was that scissors was 180 degree out. Well, like you could flip it sideways. You could flip it end over end this way and have the other piece of scissors being up. But the problem with that is it won't work that way because the hydraulic lines aren't long enough to go that way. I mean, it can only go one way, except that you could potentially take that scissors and spin it all the way around to come back around like that, and then flip it over again so that the hydraulic line is... That was the only thing I could think of. So, and I mean, I studied it. So this morning, I take it all completely apart again. Pull the whole thing out, which ain't no simple thing. Let me tell you, it's heavy. I mean, this thing's really heavy. So I get it all the way out, get it on the ground. I try to flip the scissors all the way around, thinking that that's the problem. It won't flip all the way around. I study it as much as I can, and I'm thinking, well, I installed it right the first time. So I go put it back in there. I literally installed it all back in there. Took me till 11:30 to get it back reinstalled back in there. Same problem. I turned the brackets upside down. I thought, well, maybe I had the brackets wrong. These brackets that hook on the side of the bed, the frame of the bed to lift the bed. I thought, well, I had those brackets upside down. So I turned them the other way. That didn't fix it either. Now I'm thinking, though, there's brackets on the bottom. I don't know what that would happen if I changed those around. Maybe those brackets are upside down also. That could be it. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back out and study it. But here's my sad video to kind of give you some more detail. Well, there was a heartbreaking realization yesterday that the thing could go together in many different ways. And there's only one way that was right. Well, guess what? I didn't pick the one way that was right. So I had to take this whole mechanism back out of here. Every single bolt that I put in, that I fought on every bolt. I am not kidding you. Every single thing was a major struggle. So I disconnected the hydraulics, pulled out this deal here. And see, you would think, well, it's a 50-50. You'd either install it the way it is or you'd flip it over, right? Well, there's two more ways, and I didn't know there were two more ways. And here's the next way. Turn that over and bring it all the way back around to this. In other words, this has to now flop under. And then you could still turn it one way or the other, right? You could still have it one way up or one way down. Well, this has to be on the down side because it's the longer one. It's where the hydraulics hook up. So that part I've got figured out now. But there were 4 ways you could install this. And of course, I installed it as bad as it could be installed. I had no idea this had been flipped this way. I mean, this whole thing got bent out of shape. It was a mess. I straightened it all out, and it just is what it is. I had to take it completely apart, and now I got to struggle just to get it folded right and then put back in correctly. Probably the easiest way would be to tip it on its side, more than likely. Pieces, I hate to take these end pieces back out because they're full of grease now. Maybe I can flip it on its side this way and then do it. Maybe. And then finish folding this around. I was going to do it with the mini skid steer, and then I thought, it's probably better if I just do this manually. Okay, that ain't going to work either. So there's obviously another problem. And I don't know what the other problem is, because this ain't going to work either. So I took it all the way out of there. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. I am completely lost on what the problem is now. That won't fold that way. I guess I could have just easily measured it, but I just had it in my mind that for sure it would have to fold the opposite way. Well, friends, this is a nightmare beyond nightmares. Now I've got it all reinstalled again. I thought maybe my problem was that I put these brackets in upside down, which would lower this bar a little bit. I don't think that made enough difference to matter at all. It's still hitting. That is hitting the bed. I think this big heavy piece has to be on the bottom side, but the problem is I can't flip the whole thing because that would put this hose thing on the top up here, and there's not enough hose for that to go up. So I know it wasn't installed that way. I know I had it installed like I have it here. It's somehow this thing has gotten flipped. I took it out and tried to flip it over, and it won't let me do that. So it has to come apart back there and then get reinstalled. I don't remember ever taking that apart back there. I don't know. I am so frustrated I can't even tell you, because after doing this twice, and let me tell you, this ain't no picnic to take this apart and put it back together. I am so frustrated that words can't even explain it. I don't even know what to say. And I saw a comment there, could it be the modification you made to the frame? Not at all. It's not even in the picture. I don't know what's happened to it. I mean, I cannot figure it out. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see anything binding on anything. I know I had it installed before and it was working with that big red cylinder. When I got the truck, it had a small cylinder for lifting. And it worked, but the problem is that cylinder was just a mess. It was just a mess. It would leak oil, and it would, I don't know, it wouldn't hold right. It had, it was just, and it was a weak looking cylinder. It was wore out. I mean, it was just something that had been around and been through the ringer. So I thought, well, I'll just get a new cylinder, a big cylinder, and I put in a much bigger cylinder. So that big red cylinder is much heavier. Unfortunately, that cylinder by itself probably weighs easily 100 pounds. It's heavy. I mean, it's all I can do to pick it up and get it in there. I mean, it's all I can do. And I had to extend that scissors. When I put that in there, I had to make that scissors different size. I did that, and it worked, and I used it that way until JR was out using it and tried to dump it on a hillside and twisted the whole frame and bed and everything. That's what got us in the shape we're in. So, if the real problem is I didn't get back on it right away. Had I, put it back together right after it broke, I probably would have remembered exactly how it goes together and probably wouldn't have this problem. But it's been a couple of years, I guess, sitting there. But honestly, I'm real mechanically minded. I mean, that's the thing. I can look at something, even if I've never even seen it put together before, ever, and look at it and go, well, this is how this goes, and I can figure it out. I'm looking at this, and it looks like it's right. I don't see anything wrong anywhere, any shape, form. I don't see a problem. I don't know what the problem is. It's got me completely flustered. I mean, I am devastated because it's so hard to do this. I mean, every part of that thing any piece you pick up is 100 pounds. I mean, it's heavy. It's really heavy. And it doesn't want to just crawl up there and jump in place for you. I mean, you got to move every single thing to get it into place. It is really a hard job. All right, let's look at we have a jam this evening at the Highland Christian Church in Rolla, Missouri, and I might go to that to get my mind off this, but I'm telling you, I don't know what to do. And then Ron was supposed to be here today to cut cedar trees, and I canceled on him also. And I told him we could do it tomorrow. Well, now I just want this dump truck out of my hair, so I don't know what to do. It's killing me. Rod Wintler was the first one in today. He says howdy. Jerry and gang, and David Thorpe says howdy. Before filming the original TV series of Star Trek, William Shatner had never actually flown a starship. They used a stunt double in all the flying scenes. Huh, I didn't know that. It's good to learn stuff like this. I'm sure glad we have this every day. Let's see. Gino Hitch is the next question marks. But if you're new here and you don't know what I'm doing, I'm only looking for the question marks. If I don't see question marks, I don't read the comment for the most part. Unless I screw up and read it like I usually do 3 or 4 times every day. Gino Hitch. Hi, Jerry and friends. Another cold day here in Monroe, Ohio. I missed the program last night. Hope things went well. You didn't miss any program on my end because there was no program. Steve Waldron. Good afternoon, Jerry and all. What do you know about Martin Shenandoah guitar model D2832? Well, I don't know anything about the specific models on any of them, really. But I do know that the Martin Shenandoah is not a solid guitar. Now, I don't know if the top is solid or if it's plywood. You'll just have to look at it and see. Well, you can Google it on the Martin Shenandoah and find out more than I can tell you. To be honest with you, I mean, they're a decent guitar, but I don't think they're solid wood. I think there's laminated sides and possibly top. I'm not really sure about the top. That's about all I can tell you, but I do know they're a pretty nice guitar, but I do think they're also laminated. Don Nice, hope everything is well, but I didn't miss the show last night, just watched the video last week. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It takes me a while. I tell you, I cannot read, and when I do read, I don't get what it says. That's the problem. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. Scott Roberts, thought for the day. If you made eye contact at the stoplight, you have to race when the light turns green. Those are just the rules. Rev up your engines and get those thumbs up. I appreciate the thumbs up. Don Nice, Jerry, I'm glad you have a show today. It's cold, rainy day here, so no fly fishing today. Well, I do like fly fishing. It's a lot of fun. You got to have a lot of good conditions, though, for fly fishing, to make it fun. Otherwise, it's a major hassle. I mean, like, you can't have a lot of weeds and trees, and you can't have a lot of wind, and, you have to have decent location and decent weather, but when the conditions are right, fly fishing is hard to beat. It's good stuff. Bill Webb, good afternoon, Jerry and friends. Good news is I may have found a shop here in town to work on instruments out of. Fingers crossed, it's still tentative. Well, oh, okay. So you may have found a new job is what you're saying. That'd be cool. David Tharp, when my youngest grandson first started school, I asked him what he learned today. He said, I guess it wasn't enough. I've got to go back tomorrow. Yeah. Sidecar Bob. Hi all, and Jerry, I may have to go early. I haven't. If my new generator arrives. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I hope it does. Let's see. It moved on me. Yeah, doggone it. It must have moved more than I thought. All right. I think I found it. Let's see. Scott Roberts. Could that modification you made to the truck frame possibly be the cause? Nope. That's not it for sure. It's, the modification I made only improved the install so far. It's something else. I just don't know what it is. Kelly Manis, Jerry, can you turn up the volume on your mic? Lately, I can't hear you while I work due to my tools. No, I've got everything set to the max here, so I don't know what it is. Maybe it would be on your end, or I don't know, maybe this is turned just a little bit. I'll turn it up just a hair. Doesn't look like I'm peeking out too much. So I turned it up a tiny bit. But it's right at the top for the most part. Simon Jardine, I've fitted micro thin foil false mother of pearl fret markers to my guitar fretboard. I want to cover them in super glue. Any idea which polish to use to buff super glue? I have drill mounted polishing mop. No, I don't really. I don't know. I never really used polish like that for that purpose. I guess I would have sanded it or whatever, and then I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of the name of it now. That semichrome polish works really good to buff things out, so I would think that would work for you on that. Ronald Todd, Jerry, obviously that's a new cylinder. Could it be a little too long? No. It was in there and it worked for a couple of years, so It's that new cylinder is new to the truck, but it's not new to working in the truck. It worked in the truck for a couple of years before JR ruined everything. Dottie Hildebrand, is the cylinder maybe got a bad spot on it? No, it's nothing like that. You can actually physically see the big heavy metal thing that I was pointing to. When it's coming down, it scissors up like this, and it pushes into the bed, and it locks itself in place. I mean, it's just simple as that. It just is. It's simple, but it's complicated. I can see the problem. I just can't see a fix for it. Paul Akers, attached from the bottom. I don't know exactly what that means, but you can't. There's not much you can do in the way. Like, in other words, there's not many options. Like, I can't go below those cross members. I can't do that because then the metal can't go up at all. I have to stay above the cross members that are in the frame. I can't go below that anyway because there's a drive shaft down there. I mean, I can't think of a reason. I mean, I think, I don't mean to pat myself too much on the back, but I think if there was 100 people and there was a problem to be solved mechanically, I would bet I'd be either the one to solve it or in the top 3. And I can't solve this one. I'm looking at it going, I don't get it. I don't get it. I seriously don't get it. I'm looking at this thing every way I can look at it, and I'm thinking, it used to work. Why don't it work now? I cannot figure out a reason. But something obviously happened. I suspect what happened was, and the problem is, again, it's one of those deals where had I put it back together right after it broke, it probably would have been easy to figure this out. I don't remember what all I did to it. I know it was that whole scissors mechanism was twisted and bent and just messed up. It didn't even scissor at that time. It was messed up. And that thing's a big, heavy outfit. And I thought, how in the world am I ever going to straighten that out? Well, it took a lot of work, but I got it straightened out. And now I straightened it out right after it broke. But it works. It scissors now like it's supposed to. What I don't remember is, did I somehow take the scissor hinge part? Did I take that out? And I don't see how I did, because I'm looking at it now and I don't see how you could get it apart. I thought maybe I took that out and put the two pieces together wrong. In other words, maybe I flipped the top piece upside down or something, and put it back together. That's the only thing I can think of. I seriously can't think of anything else. I've looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, and I can't think, and I don't remember taking it apart like that. But maybe I did. That's the only thing I can think of that would maybe cause the problem I'm having. Anyway. Do I have any pics of it before? No, not that I'm aware of. Not that I could ever find if I did. When you think of the thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of video clips I have, I would say we're borderline in 1 million video clips at this point. When you think of all the clips. And I'm not talking about full-blown videos. I'm talking about all the clips. It's got to be close to 1 million of them. And yeah, I could never find it if I had it. Scott Roberts, wish I could be there to help to figure it out. There's a sort of work I have been doing for over 50 years now. Been retired 9 years. I would have to see it in person to help. Yeah. Well, I'm the same way, Scott. I've been doing this kind of stuff my whole life, and I mean, I started when I was a kid rebuilding engines and making go-karts and stuff like that, to now, and I'm sure there's an answer. I just can't see what it is right now. The only thing I can think of is the scissor thing getting flipped thing. You can't flip it 180. I thought that was the simple problem. I thought, when I was working on it and straining on it to straighten it out, I thought, surely I just flipped the scissors around 180 degrees and it's backwards. That ain't it, because it won't let you flip it 180 degrees. Because there's some wings on the side there that catch and they won't let you go there. I don't know what it is. Bill Rhodes. Jerry, how about go to Google and look that truck up and see how it's supposed to? Well, I don't know that this is a standard dump truck. I really don't. I think this was a put together thing. I really don't know. But it might, I don't know. I just don't know. Ronald Todd, Jerry, if the dump body moves up and down without any trouble, then it has to be the cylinder size. No, it doesn't have to be that. You got to remember, it worked for 2 years. Like it worked. Black and white, 100%, it worked. So why won't it work now? It can't be this. It can't be something like the cylinder size. Just can't be. It's impossible. Scott Roberts, David Tharp, and why is that the starship always goes where no one has gone before, but there's always someone there when they get there? Now that's a really good point. I never thought of that one. That would blow the whole series out of that. That blows their whole theory right there. I never thought of that, but that's the truth, isn't it? Where nobody's gone before, but every time they get there, there's already somebody there. I never thought of that. That's a good one. Kim Williford, Jerry, I was thinking about your beautiful ring. Your diamond might be a white sapphire. Yeah, that's what I had said too, is that it might be a white sapphire. I even said that to the jeweler, and she said, it could be. And I said, well, you don't have any way to tell me what it is? No, not unless we take it apart and send it off. She goes, that would cost you a lot of money. It wouldn't be worth it. I said, okay. What I am fairly sure about, Kim, is that it's not just your typical costume jewelry glass. I'm 99% sure it's not that, because I have dug a lot of that. I mean, a lot of it over the years. And it always comes out foggy looking, scratched up looking. This ain't that way. This thing is pretty much crystal clear, except for I'm talking like these things that I'm talking about where you can see scratches. They're so minute that it's like even under the microscope, they're so minute that it's barely even noticeable at all, which makes you think it could be a diamond, but I don't think a diamond would scratch at all, because diamond's the hardest thing there is. So that makes me think it's just some real nice gemstone, but it's, and these scratches are, like I said, it's that high crown. That crown sticks up quite a bit above the ring, and it's right around the edge of that crown. And it's, like I said, it's not like with your naked eye, you can't see it at all. It looks perfectly pristine with your naked eye. But when you get it under that high-powered microscope, you can see some very minor scuffing around the edges. And that's what makes me think it's not a diamond. Anyway, but I don't know. Like I said, I haven't ordered those parts yet for testing diamonds. I was waiting until I need to order something else, and then I'll just include that in the order. Steve Mays, when they fix the frame, do you think they may have shortened it by having the arch in the frame? I tried to think of anything they might have done, but actually where the problem seems to be coming in, it's way before it ever gets down to the frame. It's in the air. The problem seems to be. It's literally the mechanism's hitting the underside of the bed. And the attachment points up front are in the same place they always were. I don't know. I seriously don't know. I don't really. I can almost look at any mechanical thing and go, well, I can see how you could. If I don't even know what the problem is, I can usually figure out how I could fix it or how I can make it work. This, I can't do either of those things. I can't see where the real problem is, and I can't see how to make it work. Anyway. Wavy gravy. I walked into an auto shop and told the mechanic I need a gas cap for my old truck. That after looking at my truck, he said, yeah, a gas cap for this thing, that's a fair trade. Oh. Okay. And let's see. Mike Spivey, who built the lift? Check WH. Who built the lift? Check WH. Not sure I know what you mean there. If you're talking about the lift on the truck, it just is what it is. It's the same lift that's been on there. Well, I've had it about 20 years at least, and it's always worked. So I just don't know why it's not working now. That's the problem. Scott Roberts, Jerry, have you tried disconnecting the hydraulic cylinder and lift the bed up and down to see if it's freed up? Yeah, I've done that many times, actually. And it's got nothing to do with being, quote unquote, freed up. It's the cylinder mechanism that's not. You can see that scissors thing. It goes up and it pushes against the bed, and as it's coming down, this is tripping up like that, and it's hitting the bed, and it just stops. So it makes you think it's upside down, but you can't install that upside down because the hydraulic has to be on that one frame because there's no other place to hook up the hydraulic cylinder. The hydraulic cylinder can't be attached to the other side of it, and you can't attach the hydraulic cylinder to the top one. Even if you flip it, you can't put the hydraulic cylinder up here because the hose is short, and when this goes up, it's going to tear the hose off. It can't work that way. It has to work the way I have it. Got no idea. I'm just dumbfounded. Simon Jardine, Taylor guitars use laminate back and sides to all their guitars, starting both and nothing to the sound tone. Stating both. Taylor guitars use laminate back and sides on all their guitars. I don't know if that's true or not. It might be, but I don't think that's true. I'm no expert on that kind of stuff. Like I said, the models and all that, I don't know that stuff. Never did. Never tried to keep track of it, because when you have hundreds and hundreds of instruments passing through your door, you can't keep track of all that stuff. But I wouldn't have thought that. Let's just say it that way. Chipwood, any mushrooms yet? No, haven't had a chance to really go out much. The one, Sue's got a friend that she's already found a couple, and she lives real close to here. I mean, within 20 miles of here. And she's found a couple. Her and I are kind of competing every year for who finds the most. So there might be some around here now, since she found a couple. Bill Mumbo, watch the live stream from John Robson Guitar. It's on every Friday at 5 p.m. Been subbed to him almost as long as I have Jerry. Okay. I'm not familiar with that one. Kim Williford, I can hear you better now. My phone is at its max volume. Isn't that crazy? Let's see. Bill Rhodes, where is the frame still bent? Where is the frame still bent? Yeah, I don't know. Bill Rhodes, sorry, my phone is nuts. Is the frame still bent? Well, I mean, not really. I mean, not enough to make happen what's happening here. Scott Roberts, could be the tighter fit on those hinge pins might be binding up now. No, I don't think that's it. Preston Johnson, Jerry, get JR to be your heavy lifting jack since he messed it up. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a great idea, but that's about as far as it's going to go with that. Wavy Gravy, Jerry, if they ban all shredded cheese products, won't that make America great again? I never thought of that. That might be the simplest thing of all. I wonder if Trump ever thought of that. That's a good one. You ought to pass that on to him. Let's see. Steve Mays, I don't know a lot about hydraulics, but could air in the system cause a problem? That's not the problem. It's a physical, mechanical issue. I mean, it's physically a mechanical issue. It's just that as this is coming down, this is pushing the back of that thing up against the bed. That's all there is to it. Got nothing to do with the hydraulics, really. It's got something to do with the way that thing is mechanically put together. And like I said, I don't remember taking that part apart, but maybe I did. And if I did, you could almost bet 100% I screwed that up and just flipped it. Because anytime there's a 50-50, I'll get that wrong. That's just a guarantee. So, but I don't think I took that apart because I don't think I could. I don't think that thing comes apart. Don't look to me like it does. I don't know. I don't know. Could it be Murphy's Law? For sure on that. Absolutely, 100%. Kim Williford, white sapphire is still valuable. The scratches shows its history, still very valuable. Well, I guess. When I asked the jeweler, I said, well, is the white sapphire worth anything? She said, they're a couple $100. So it's not like it's really worth anything. She said the whole ring together as it is about $800 to $1,000, if you're lucky on the $1,000. She said if you were going to put it on Facebook, you'd probably want to ask $800. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still a good chunk of change, but, it takes all the wind out of the sails for sure since it's not a diamond. Eddie Turner, at least we don't think it's a diamond. And I'm pretty sure it's not with those little scuffs around those corners. I wonder if the bedside of the anchor point has changed a little with the new hinge. You have hydraulic pressure up, but gravity down. Yeah, it is gravity pushing it down. That's the thing. But it's the mechanical issue of how it's put together. As this is coming down, this back end of it is going up, and that back end is going up against the bed. It's just, I don't know. I just can't figure out why it's doing that, because I know I had it working for years before. And I can't see a real reason why that's doing that. But I'm going to go down there and just sit there and look at it and study it and sit there and look at it and study it, because that's the only thing I know to do. And usually when I do that, I can usually figure it out just by looking at it and thinking about it. But right now, I can't do that. Bruce Hines, Lennon Bob, maybe spinning around 180 horizontal. Yeah, you can't do that. Let's see. Bruce Hines, was there nothing to hold the end of that cylinder down in place when lowering? Don't know quite what you mean there, I don't think. Oh, the end of it, the back end that's going up no, there's nothing like that. Tucker Burke, go to a junkyard and look at a similar dump bed. Yeah, well, the actual bed on this truck is homemade. I mean, it's completely homemade. There's nothing you're going to find at the dump at the junkyard that looks just like this. The scissors, I don't know where that came from, if it came off of this truck, if that's original to the truck, and it might be, because it does kind of look like it's got the original brackets that fit it and stuff. So it might be the original scissors. I don't know. But, I mean, looking, if I could find something to compare it to, all those suggestions about looking at, and Googling it and all that, that's all good suggestions. I just don't know if there is anything out there that I could find that would look the same. But I'll give it a try. Tucker Burke, Scott Roberts, dumb question, but any chance you can spin that lift end over end? Maybe it's backwards. That's what I'm saying. I've tried all that. That's why I took it all the way back out. There's just nothing that's going to work like that I can think of. Nothing simple anyway. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Phooey. We've got a bunch of them here. Rod Wentler, could the hydraulic cylinder be wrong head to tail? No. Impossible on that. It only fits one way. It cannot fit the other way. Impossible. Sidecar Bob just Googled Rosa Stringworks dump truck and it found Shop Talk 133. There you show how bent that scissor thing was. Okay, cool. Well, thanks. I'll look that up myself because I would have completely forgot about it. 133, that bent then? Man, that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago. I'll look it up. That might help. That exactly might help a lot. Ramona Webb. This is Bill. This is Bill. Go to the gym and get away from the truck for a minute. Yeah, I probably will go to it. Ronald Todd, Jerry, cheer up. A couple of good night's sleep, and the answer will come to you in your sleep. Yeah, it happens a lot too. Scott Roberts, Murphy was an optimist. That's a truth for sure. Steve Mays, I'm beginning to think it's not easy being you. You'll get it one of these days. You really will. Gary Hayden, Jerry, have you ever worked on a grammar guitar? Yes, I did. It was quite a while back, but I did work on one, and I couldn't remember or tell you anything about it, honestly. Just too far back. Have you ever seen quartz? Quartz as in a gemstone quartz? Yeah, I don't think this is quartz at all. I don't think that's it. I think this for sure is either a white sapphire or possibly a white ruby or something like that. It's a very hard stone because, like I said, every stone I've ever dug up in the past, you can tell it's not very hard because they're all scratched to pieces. This thing's been in the ground for a very long time, and it's barely got any marks on it at all, and I don't think any of the marks that it has are from being in the ground. I think they were from somehow or another getting it knocked against something hard, like on your hand type problem, and that's minimal. I mean, it's like minimal. That's why I'm thinking it's still outside possibility that it is a diamond. That's why I'm still holding out hope, but I don't think it is really. Let's see. Scott Roberts, was that truck bed laying flat on the frame when you put the hinge pins? Yep. My guess is, if so, the scissor lift itself, but you already knew that. Yeah, it is the scissor lift, something to do with the scissor lift, but I don't know what it is. Kim Williford, still, I would keep it, Jerry. It's beautiful, and put it on display. Yeah, I will have it on display more or less, but that's about it. Gary Hayden, Jerry, do you like silk bronze mandolin strings? I like the silk and steel better. I tried the silk and bronze also, and they're good strings. I'm not knocking them. But if you really are trying to change the tone of an instrument, to really tone it down, the silk and steel seem to do it better than the silk and bronze. Just my opinion. Paul Akers, do you have any old videos of using the dump? Again, I couldn't find him if I did. Shiny Cage, Jerry, I know nothing about mechanics, but the 2 pins you made are now very tight. Weren't the originals? Yeah, they were, but this has got nothing to do with that. It literally has nothing to do with that. Simon Jardine, mechanical idiot here, but it sounds to me that the answer must be change in axis point, if only slightly. Yeah, it is something to do with the axis point. I'll give you that. Scott Roberts, sidecar or video 307? Or video 307. Okay, I'll write that one down. That one's a little closer to the time frame here. Wavy Gravy, I just finished reading a book about aircraft mechanics. It was really riveting. I bet it was if it was on aircraft, because, man, they are full of rivets. Scott Roberts, I don't see any truck pictures on video 307. Okay. Let's see. Kim Williford, Jerry, the episode could show how you took it off the truck and used the video to put it back on. Yep, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to look these up for sure. Eddie Turner, have you tried unbolting the bed side frame and see if the bed goes down? Yeah, the bed goes down because before I started installing it, the bed was down on the bed, and my hinge pins worked, and I raised it up and down multiple times, not for checking the fit, but just because I had to raise it up and down to get all these parts in there. Bill Mumbo, Simon, only the, moving on down. 160 viewers at the moment. We've only got 70 some likes, so if you want to press the like button, that would be fine with me. Scott Roberts, vlog 133 at 5:31 shows picture of the scissor lift. Well, good. I'll for sure look at that. I appreciate that very much, because that will be a big help. And Scott Roberts, vlog 130. Okay, sorry. Paul Akers, good video when you figure it out. Yeah, when I get it figured out, I'll get it figured out. But boy, right now, it doesn't feel like it. Garland Edmondson, as far as I remember, you had a guy work on the frame and it wasn't right, and you reworked it so that you could be the problem. Hope it is not too late for a live chat. I caught you late. Yeah, they did modify the frame a lot, but I don't think it has anything to do with their modifications either. Unfortunately. I mean, I kind of wish it did, because then I'd know what to fix. But no, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. Frank Highland, Jerry, what time zone are you in? It's 1947 UK. So what is that, 7:47 p.m., I guess? We're in what they call the Central Standard Time, CST, for the United States. So whatever that means to you. Scott Roberts, found the problem. Put on your Superman shirt. Well, I think I had that on for a little while I was working on this. It didn't help. I got my Chevrolet shirt on. Maybe that's my problem. I got a Chevrolet shirt on now, and I'm working on a Ford. Thanks, guys. I'm going to go out there and contemplate, and I'll probably go to the jam this evening and maybe get my mind off of it. And I just don't know if I'm going to have to cancel on Ron again tomorrow, because I want to get this finished. Thank you. I will see you soon. Well, there's 2 more popped in here. Kim Williford, I'm so glad we are here for you, Jerry, helping you with possible solutions. Yep, I appreciate the help. Hang in there, Jerry. Well, thank you. I'm definitely going to look up those videos because that might be a big help, actually. That's probably the best help so far. Thank you, guys. We will see you Monday with something else, and hopefully I'll get a video out over the weekend, too. See you then.